Under the gentle autumn sunlight in Christchurch, New Zealand's second-largest city, the golden-orange hues set Oxford Terrace aglow. Early morning dew still sparkled on the slate roofs of the old Victorian houses, and a sea breeze from the Littleton harbour carried the faint scent of dry grass. In the Housewell suburb stood the Wellington family's spacious villa with its year-round green garden, home to the Ryans, a clan long devoted to military service and community duty. Ryan Wellington, 33, bore the calm yet slightly aloof bearing that had become his trademark in uniform. His angular face and brown hair streaked with early silver at the temples, marks of years of grueling training, befitted a lieutenant colonel in the New Zealand Defence Force, always under a strict code of discipline. Faded scars across his back testified to his peacekeeping tour in South Sudan, and in his eyes lay a quiet yearning for stability after so many years on the move. But at 112 Wellington Street, Ryan's parents, Arthur and Margaret, were unsettled by their son's solitary life. They wanted him married, to carry on the Wellington name and have someone to care for him when he retired from frontline duty. When Arthur read that a farming family near Ashburton was seeking a husband for their only daughter, the couple made contact at once. The Browns of Canterbury were known for their gentle ways. Not wealthy, but with lush pasture fields year-round, Richard Brown was a third-generation farmer who, after a string of bad seasons, decided to sell his only daughter, 28-year-old Emily Brown, as a bride, in return for enough dowry to repair the cow shed and buy new seed grass. Emily had been born with congenital retinopathy, leaving her temporarily blind. Though her eyes could not clearly see light, her heart was sensitive and her spirit strong. With the marriage contract drawn up by the kitchen fire, Emily sat on a simple wooden chair, slender fingers resting on her white cane. She heard the soft scratch of pen on paper, heard her mother Susan sobbing, "My child, I know I've done wrong, but at least I'll try to give you a stable life." Emily only sighed and nodded, never once raising her voice in protest. The Wellington family arranged flights to Timaru to fetch their bride. Marriage, it seemed, was nothing more than a transaction between two clans, one needing an heir, the other needing money. When Ryan received the notice, he merely nodded. Deep down, he told himself, this is just a family duty. I still have a bigger mission on the battlefield. On the day Ryan returned to Christchurch for a week's leave to register the marriage, late autumn skies hung cool and pale, the weak morning sun giving his skin a faintly greenish tint. The marriage registry office stood downtown, its glass facade reflecting the bustling streets. Ryan arrived at the entrance in a perfectly tailored suit emphasizing his broad shoulders. Checking his phone, he confirmed the appointment, 9 a.m. Entering the grand lobby, he spotted his mother Margaret, smiling awkwardly beside Arthur. Across the hall, a small woman with neatly pinned hair clutched a folder, bowing slightly, her shoulders trembling. "It's me, Mum, Dad," Ryan said, then turned to the girl. Emily heard his warm yet unfamiliar voice. She lifted her head slightly, eyes unable to focus on the scene, but in Ryan's caring gaze she recognized her future husband. She took a hesitant step forward, white cane in hand, reaching to grasp his left hand. "Hello. You're Ryan, right?" she murmured softly. Surprised by her shyness, he bowed his head politely. "Yes. Hello, Emily. Pleased to meet you." Margaret quickly interjected, "Let's finish the paperwork, then have the photos taken. Speak gently to her, dear." Emily gave a small smile, distant-eyed. After 3 quick commemorative photos, she quietly said, "Thank you for welcoming me." Ryan sat heavily, forcing a smile, then turned to chat with his parents. Emily remained still, her gaze drifting toward the gray sky. That afternoon, Ryan drove the Subaru SUV home, his heart heavy. He watched Emily follow behind, petite, stooped slightly, attuned to every sound to guide her steps. He felt responsibility stir in him. "I must do better, take care of her." But the brief week was not enough time for two hearts to open. Ryan kept busy with family meetings, ancestral rites, paperwork, and the small wedding photo shoot, just to return to his unit quickly. To him, marriage remained a debt owed to his parents, nothing more. Emily, by contrast, would often step onto the villa's balcony, hands on the railing, sighing, "Is my life only to follow this cane, with tomorrow the same as today?" She vowed that even if forced, she would fulfill her duty fully to avoid being a burden. Yet deep within, she longed for true love, sincere feelings, not a family transaction. Then the Transalpine train whistle signaled Ryan's departure back to duty. He hugged his mother, kissed her cheek, and dashed into the car. Emily stood at the gate, gripping her cane, eyes brimming with tears. Does he really care about me? Their journey had only just begun. Christchurch, Timaru, Auckland, and the South Island's basil-scented lands would witness the soldier's changing heart and the miracle that would restore Emily's sight, the miracle of love, understanding, and sharing. When two hearts beat not from obligation but as one, they would create their own marvel, the once blind girl seeing her first glimpse of happiness. Before the bright sunrise could clear the limestone ridges around Christchurch, it shone straight into Ryan's eyes. He sat in his private room at Burnham Camp, black coffee in hand, staring at the wall calendar, only 2 days since his return to rigid military life, yet Emily's image still hovered in his thoughts like morning mist. The crackling loudspeaker boomed, "Ten Hut." He snapped to attention, buttoned his tunic, and straightened every crease. His comrades gathered, clapping shoulders and chatting about the upcoming South Island patrol, the joint Navy training exercise, all as familiar as breathing to Ryan, yet today he seemed more distant. "Hey mate, you okay? Have a coffee with me. Your temporary bride says her recovery's going well." That was Sergeant Harrison, his friend since their South Sudan tour. Ryan managed a strained smile. "They're adjusting my gut flora. Doctor said another week before the follow-up." Harrison winked. "Who'd have thought a temporary wife could leave you so dazed?" The squad laughed, teasing him, but Ryan didn't mind. Instead, his heart tightened. He missed her shy bow, her voice whispering his name. At the Wellington villa, Emily sat by the living room window, fingers caressing the mint leaves of a potted plant. Silence reigned, save for the distant cicadas. 2 days after Ryan left, she counted every hour for news. Her mother Susan entered with a cup of chamomile tea. "Have you heard? The nurse says no sign of infection, you're eating and sleeping well. Just need one more check next week." Emily nodded, tears in her eyes, set the cup down, took her cane, and walked into the yard. Under the oak tree, she closed her eyes and breathed in the damp grass scent. She whispered, "If only he were here, he'd hold my hand like he did the first time." Then she smiled with quiet loneliness. That afternoon, after live-fire drills, Ryan checked his phone and spotted the photo from the registry. He decided to video call her. The screen stayed black, then Emily's face emerged in the sunset glow, her hair in a low tie, eyes blurred behind thick lenses, a shy smile. "Day, Em," he greeted softly. "Hello." She bowed her head. Silence stretched, two hearts in unison, longing and awkwardness. "How are things today?" Ryan asked. "I'm fine. The doctor says I'll recover soon." He smiled. For the first time in years, he felt proud of something beyond duty. "I miss you," he confessed. Emily blushed, looked up. "I miss you, too." They talked of unit training, the canteen food, the novel she was reading, until the Alps sunset. "I've got to write my report." "Keep warm, don't overdo it," he gently warned. "I'll wait for you," she promised, gripping her cane. When the screen went dark, both breathed a sigh of relief. Amid guns and hospital worries, they had found each other in quiet moments. That weekend, Ryan was granted leave back to Wellington Street. This time, he resolved to spend the full 2 days at home, no rushing. Driving back, he played Maori music to calm his mind. The Wellington villa looked the same, white picket fence, purple lavender beds, pebble stone path. Emily waited at the gate in a pale blue sweater, hair loose. Her eyes brightened when she saw him. "You're home," she exclaimed, stepping forward to touch his shoulder. He wound down the window, smiling. "I promise I won't leave you again." They strolled through the garden hand in hand, the first real closeness. Emily led him to the David Austin rose bush, the only plant she dared touch without fear of thorns. Bending to scent a blossom, he surprised her with a kiss on the cheek. "You know, that's my first kiss, and the one I don't want to end." Emily flushed, whispered, "I'm afraid of causing you hardship." He held her close, murmuring, "I'll protect you like I protect myself." And just like that, the world fell away, leaving two willing hearts choosing each other, no longer a family debt. That night, in the soft glow of lamps, they sat at a small dinner table, wooden chopsticks, ceramic bowls, enjoying chicken stew and mashed potatoes. Facing each other, they spoke of simple dreams. She wanted to see a Canterbury sunrise, he wanted a little house filled with children's laughter. In that moment, Ryan realized marriage was not just a duty, but the start of sharing a journey, where he would learn to lay down his armor, and she would know love held real miracles. When his unit granted a 2-week extended leave, Ryan decided to bring Emily to live at the Wellington Villa, his home for so many years alone. Her luggage contained only comfortable clothes, her white cane, and a leather-bound journal filled with her thoughts. On Emily's arrival morning, a mist still coated the driveway. Ryan parked the Subaru, dashed inside, and opened the door wide. Before Emily lay the white leather sofa, oak bookshelves, and the Milford Sound painting etched in memory. She trailed her hand along the sofa, felt its contours, then slid onto it, chilling against the cool tiles. "Hello," Ryan greeted warmly. "Hello," Emily replied softly, "breeze on tall grass." Those first days, both kept polite distance. Emily moved cautiously, afraid of knocking over the books, afraid to flip the radio, always calling out, "Ryan, may I please have a cup of tea?" He would appear silently, place the cup beside her. "Have you eaten?" he asked, then brought breakfast, rolled eggs, lean sausage, toast. When the sausage proved too salty, he swapped in a warm bowl of oatmeal. For the blind, the world was shaped by smell, sound, and touch. Emily wore shoes indoors, hands tracing the walls, coat hooks, and pantry drawers. "Ryan, is that the lavender tablecloth in the left cabinet?" she asked. He chuckled, handing it to her. "Your sense of smell is sharp." That afternoon, they went into the back garden. Holding hands on the pebble path, she felt the dry leaves crackle beneath her feet, smelled the damp earth. "Over there is the kiwi vine, the fruit's ripe now." "Smell it," he guided. She inhaled. "Sweet kiwi. You know I love this taste." No longer temporary husband, Ryan learned care. He set alarms for her supplements, reminded her before meals. When she tired, he picked up her cane and supported her to the reading room. On the first night, Emily woke from a dry cough. He rose, made ginger tea, gently patted her back. "Try to sleep a bit more, tomorrow I'll call the doctor for a checkup." Feeling sheltered, Emily whispered, "Thank you." One weekend morning, Ryan led her to the Avon River, the first time she'd been. They sat on a stone bench, toes brushing the cold water. "The rippling sound is like a soft melody," she said. "It is," he smiled. "I brought you here so you'd forget the battlefield noise." Startled, she leaned on his shoulder. For the first time, they were no longer strangers but sharing peace and sensory wonders. That night in the family library, Emily read aloud a poem by Catherine Mansfield while Ryan listened, eyes closed, stroking her hair. They knew then they had become true life partners, ready to face challenges and build a home with the smallest acts of kindness. At dawn the next day, sunlight filtered through the bedroom window onto white sheets. Ryan awoke early, sat by the armchair, military manual in hand, but instead of reading, he watched Emily sleep peacefully, her tension eased, her lips curved in a soft smile. He had maintained distance before, only helping when asked, speaking only when necessary. Today, he wanted more. Leaning closer, he studied her gentle features, from lashes to cheekbones. Softly, he pulled the blanket onto her shoulder and whispered, "Time to wake up." It's bright outside. Emily stirred, eyes fluttering open at his voice. Oh. You're up, she murmured. Yeah. I'm making breakfast. What would you like? Panicked, she recalled asking for strawberry pancakes. She grasped his hand. Pancakes? With maple syrup, please. He simply nodded, smiling. From that angle, Emily saw that the once icy soldier could smile, something she never believed on registration day. The kitchen smelled of batter and sweet syrup. Ryan flipped each pancake carefully while Emily waited. She listened to the sizzle of oil, smelled the frying potatoes, the smooth flip of soft cakes. Each sound resonated more clearly. Here are your pancakes, he placed them before her. With strawberries. She touched a pancake's warm softness, thinking this moment was her happiest since meeting him. Tasting the sweet and spicy notes of syrup, she whispered, "Thank you." He nodded, then quietly ate his own. Breakfast passed in peaceful sweetness. She spoke of dreams, childhood friends, her unit memories. He listened intently. That afternoon, Ryan surprised her. Want to try driving? I've signed you up for a lesson. Her eyes widened. Drive? I never thought I could. I believe you can. Your instructor said you're doing well. With his guidance, she sat at the wheel of his black Subaru. He sat beside her, hand on the brake pedal, ready. At first she trembled, eyes on the steering, fingers gripping tightly. As the car rolled slowly, she inhaled, nodded, "Please adjust my mirror." Only the hum of the engine and the rubber on asphalt remained. After a few laps, she even dared the gas. Driving alongside the Avon River, the breeze carried moisture and cool air. Eyes closed, she felt freedom. I can't believe I'm doing this. He beamed proudly, "You're doing great." She turned to thank him but caught only his steady, warm gaze. In that instant, her heart fluttered. That night, in the warm library glow, Emily's fingers traced journal pages as she wrote, "Today he made me pancakes, taught me to drive, and believed in me. With him, I'm no longer afraid. For the first time, my heart truly shines." At that moment, Ryan entered with a glass of warm milk. He offered it to her. "You're up late. Have this, then sleep early." Surprised, she looked up. Their eyes met, distance vanished. She took the glass, and her fingers touched his. "Thank you, for today." He nodded. "Small things, but I want you to know. I notice every detail." Just like the milk's warmth at her fingertips, so was the warmth of his growing care. In the days that followed, Emily's hope ignited, and Ryan realized he was changing, from a soldier obeying orders to a man listening and opening his heart. When she stumbled, he no longer scolded but gently supported her. When she hesitated, he encouraged instead of ignoring. On Port Hill's summit, overlooking Christchurch's sparkling lights, Emily leaned on his arm, wind tousling her hair with Littleton's salty breeze. "I've never seen anywhere so beautiful," she whispered. "I'm glad I brought you here," he murmured. "With you, I find peace." In that moment, his once frozen heart thawed, opening to real love, transforming a family duty into everyday joy. The next morning, Emily and Ryan set off for Auckland. The gravel roads of Canterbury Highlands gave way to the gentle stretches of Hauraki Gulf. She sat by the window, clutching her pillow, occasionally touching the photo of them at Port Hills. Beside her, Ryan focused on driving, glancing back with a smile. "You okay?" "Yeah, a bit nervous but I trust you," Emily said, eyes hopeful. At Auckland Eye Hospital, top specialist Dr. Harrison awaited them. The bright white exam room and gleaming equipment set Emily's cane-guided steps. Ryan stood close, gently holding her hand. "I'm here. You'll be fine." She nodded, heart pounding. With each flash of the ophthalmoscope, she felt his warmth. After the exam, the doctor whispered, "This requires corneal transplant surgery." A challenging procedure but high success rate, provided good postoperative care. Emily swallowed, then looked to Ryan. He smiled to steady her. You're brave. We'll get through this together. That afternoon, Emily went into surgery. Ryan waited outside, heartbeat racing. He closed his eyes in prayer. 3 endless hours passed before the doctor emerged. It's a success. Congratulations. But the postoperative phase is crucial. Ryan exhaled, rushing in. Emily lay on the bed, bandaged eyes, tired but managing a faint smile when she saw him. I still smell maple syrup. She joked to ease the tension. He laughed, helping her sit, supporting her to recovery. He placed pillows behind her, held her hand, and fed her warm soup spoonful by spoonful. Days 2 and 3 required strict rest, no strenuous movement, no eye rubbing, regular anti-inflammatory drops. Ryan never left her side, sleeping on the visitor's chair, watching the nurse's pressure checks. Whenever she grew weary, he whispered, "Go to sleep. I'm here." At night, in the quiet hospital corridors, he poured her medicated juice. She smiled at his care. "You're the best nurse in the world." He gently stroked her hair. "You need to heal quickly so I can take you to see the sunrise." Emily closed her eyes, blissful. In her heart, fear had given way to profound gratitude. Beside her, the once chilly soldier became her strongest support. After a week of attentive care, Emily's recovery advanced. The eye bandage came off, and for the first time in years she began to perceive light, yet that light came not only from new vision but from the countless sweet things he'd done for her. Returning to Christchurch that morning, she sat in silence, eyes sparkling at the changing countryside. Each patch of green pasture and each cloud in the highlands stirred deep emotion. "You're thinking what I am," Ryan smiled. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Emily nodded, squeezing his hand. "More beautiful than any dream I ever imagined." Back at the villa, they cleaned the living room and prepared dinner. Emily placed tulips, her favorite, on the table and poured light white wine. Ryan watched her carefully arrange each detail, warmth swelling in his chest. After dinner, Emily fetched a small wooden box from her desk, revealing old childhood photos, a blurry-eyed girl smiling brightly. She held one up, voice solemn. "I want to share why I've always feared the dark." Ryan sat beside her, arms around her. "Tell me." "I'm listening." She spoke of her parents' divorce, being left in hospital, her mother's cries, and the loneliness that led her to believe she'd live forever in darkness. "I thought I didn't deserve the light," she whispered. "Whenever I saw it, I was afraid of being swept away." Ryan squeezed her hand. "I'm sorry you suffered alone. I'm here now, you'll never be alone again." Emily looked up, tears in her eyes. Their gentle kiss spoke of forever, no matter how painful the past, the present brimmed with hope. Then Ryan opened up about his years in uniform, family pressures, witnessing comrades' deaths in South Sudan, and his guilt at being unable to save his best friend. "I hid behind the uniform so no one would see me weak. But with you, I've learned to take off that armor." Emily placed her hand over his heart. "We both have pain. What matters is finding someone to share it with." In that moment, they were no longer soldier and temporary bride, but soulmates, weaving past sorrows into a brighter future. They drafted a bucket list: watch sunrise at Akaroa, kayak Lake Tekapo, attend Otatahai's Tulip Festival, and, most importantly, teach Braille to blind friends. Emily beamed. "I want to turn this spare room into a learning space for the visually impaired. Will you help?" Ryan smiled proudly. "Anything, if we do it together." The next day, they bought Braille textbooks, tactile graphics, and decorated a small room. Ryan installed bookshelves, Emily hung tactile illustrations. They even placed an old piano so Emily could teach music. When the first warm, laughter-filled class was ready, 6 eager students from Christchurch, Emily stood at the lectern, fingers tracing raised dots. "Welcome to the language of words by touch. Today, we will." Her voice was steady and confident. In the last row, Ryan watched, chest swelling with pride. She'd brought real light to many lives. Under early summer sunlight and Littleton's gentle breeze, Emily and Ryan decided on an intimate garden wedding at the Wellington Villa, inviting family, friends, and Braille students. Invitations were printed in raised dots, with standard text for all guests. Emily and her volunteer team adorned white tents, hung paper lanterns along the aisle, and scattered lavender and David Austin roses. Ryan carved wooden place cards in seahorse script in raised dots so visually impaired guests could find their seats. The Braille students rehearsed "What a Wonderful World" for the opening performance. Ryan took the MC role, Emily prepared to cut the wedding cake. Arthur and Margaret, in navy suits, stepped onto the stage to present the couple with white tulip bouquets, apologizing for forcing the marriage and offering blessings. "We're sorry for not respecting your feelings. Seeing your happiness today fulfills us." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. "Thank you for accepting me as family." Richard and Susan approached, pride evident. "No more selling daughters to farm debts. You deserve happiness with the one you love." As the crowd hushed, Emily and Ryan stood by a small altar with portraits of both families and a Braille guestbook. They exchanged rings and recited vows in speech and raised dots. "I, Jonathan Ryan Wellington, vow to love, protect, and share joys and sorrows with you. I, Emily Brown, vow to trust you, build our home, and spread light to the community." When "What a Wonderful World" played, students sang and quoted Braille lines on the backdrop. Emily wept with joy. Ryan squeezed her hand as applause erupted. Even the Transalpine whistle passing by seemed to celebrate. The feast was simple: hanjitaki from Maori cuisine, apple tarts by Ryan, and herb salads from the students' garden. Laughter and stories filled the air. Sergeant Harrison joked about Ryan nearly nodding off during a fake wife blindfold exercise. Dr. Harrison celebrated the transplant fund Emily and Ryan started. As night fell and lanterns glowed, Emily and Ryan stood hand in hand under the starry sky. She whispered, "We've overcome so much, from forced marriage to corneal surgery, from distant hearts to beating as one." He replied, "Now true happiness begins. We'll write the most beautiful chapters yet." The starlit garden, laughter, and lantern glow wove a symphony, proof that duty had blossomed into genuine love, darkness into enduring light. With Emily's vision fully restored, their life entered a new phase, no longer just healing, but building a home and giving back. In the villa's cozy spare room, they held their first official Braille class. Tactile boards, textbooks, and raised dot graphics lined the walls. 6 students, visually impaired from across Christchurch, sat in eager rows. Emily stood at the front, fingertips reading the Braille welcome. "Welcome to the world of raised dot language. Today we will learn." Her voice was strong, unshaken. In the back row, Ryan beamed with pride, thinking, "She's bringing real light to so many." Beyond literacy lessons, Emily and Ryan ran workshops on mobility, gardening, and cooking. In the garden, they dug a small bed for herbs. Students could learn by touch while exploring plants. "Place your hand on the basil," Ryan instructed, "smell it, then feel its leaf texture. When harvesting, pull gently." The group laughed as they plucked emerald sprigs. These small tasks forged bonds of friendship and trust. Once a steel-disciplined colonel, Ryan now organized events, joked to ease tension, and even taught Braille himself. His image teaching students or laughing at a short play, the friendship train, became cherished community memories. One afternoon, while Emily volunteered at a school for the blind, Ryan surprised her with a homemade apple tart. He set the box on the study desk. "I made this, see if you like it." Emily returned, astonished, and tasted the tart, eyes shimmering. "You actually made this?" He smiled gently, "For the one who gave me hope." Thanks to her restored sight, Emily pursued her dream of studying social work at Canterbury University. She enrolled in a course on supporting the visually impaired, aced the exams, and Ryan stayed by her side, reading materials and encouraging her whenever she felt weary. A small graduation ceremony was held in the villa's living room among friends and family. Emily held her diploma, beaming. "Thank you for never letting me give up." Ryan hugged her proudly. "I'm so proud of you." Their days became routines of weekend markets at Rick Carton, cooking dinners and watching classic films, and their former military Labrador joined Emily's walk training. One Christmas Eve, they hung twinkle lights around the doorway and gathered by the fireplace. Emily read a fairy tale to Ryan and the students, while he made hot chocolate. Laughter filled the warm room, the firelight dancing on their faces, a simple scene brimming with love. As the new year approached, they sat together planning the year ahead, expanding the Braille school, founding a corneal transplant fund, and hosting an official summer wedding celebration. Emily squeezed his hand. "I once thought I was just a temporary bride, but now I know I'm your true partner." Ryan smiled, eyes soft. "Thank you for choosing me. I will never let you regret it." By candlelight and gift wrap, they kindled hope for the journey ahead, where everyday happiness is built on love, sharing, and unwavering support. In Christchurch's warm summer and gentle Littleton breezes, Emily and Ryan held a small garden reception at the Wellington Villa, inviting family, friends, and Braille students. Invitations in raised dots and print ensured all could read them. Emily and volunteers draped white tents, strung paper lanterns, and set lavender and white roses everywhere. Ryan carved wooden nameplates in both print and Braille so visually impaired guests could find their seats. The Braille students rehearsed "What a Wonderful World" under Emily's direction. Ryan emceed, and Emily prepared the wedding cake cutting. Arthur and Margaret wore navy and black, emotional as they presented white tulip bouquets, apologizing for forcing the match and offering blessings. "We're sorry we overlooked your feelings. Seeing your joy today fulfills us." Emily's voice trembled. "Thank you for accepting me fully." Richard and Susan joined them proudly. "You no longer need to be sold to support the farm. You deserve happiness with the one you love." As the crowd hushed, Emily and Ryan stood before a small altar with family portraits and a Braille guestbook. They exchanged rings and recited vows in raised dots and words. "I, Jonathan Ryan Wellington, vow to love, protect, and share joys and sorrows with you. I, Emily Brown, vow to trust, build our home, and spread light to the community." When the students sang the opening number, Emily wept. Ryan held her hand as applause and a passing transalpine whistle echoed their celebration. The feast was Maori hanjitaki, Ryan's apple tarts, and herbal salads from the students' garden. Laughter and stories abounded. Sergeant Harrison's tale of Ryan nearly dozing off during a fake wife blindness drill. Dr. Harrison's excitement at their new transplant fund. As night fell, lanterns glowed warmly. Emily and Ryan stood hand in hand under the stars. She whispered, "We've conquered so much, from family duty to surgery and distant hearts to unity." He replied, "And now true happiness begins. We will write our best chapters yet." Under that starlit sky, laughter and lantern light wove a symphony of love, proof that a duty-born union had blossomed into genuine affection and a shared future. On New Year's dawn, sunbeams sifted through birch leaves, illuminating the pebble path before the Wellington Villa. The air was crisp, dew scent lingering. Ryan had just finished his shift at Burnham but chose to meet Emily for the first sunrise of the year. Emily stepped onto the balcony in a cream sweater, arms hugging her Braille-stitched cushion. She gazed toward the Canterbury horizon, where the red sun would soon crown the mountains. Ryan appeared with 2 cups of hot coffee, smiling softly. "New Year's here. I'm glad I get to greet it with you." Emily smiled, lifting her cup. "I used to think light existed only elsewhere, but now I know, it's right here, in your hands." They toasted to new beginnings beneath the rosy dawn, a promise for the journey ahead. Months later, the Wellington Villa resounded with children's laughter. Their daughter Sophie had arrived. On her nursery door was her name spelled in Braille, a design by Emily and Ryan. Sophie's curious brown eyes mirrored her mother's. When Sophie first learned to walk, Emily led her across the pebbled path, teaching touch and telling the brave girl story in Braille. Ryan guided Sophie's first mama and papa, her cooing echoed in the lavender-scented yard. On quiet weekend afternoons, the family gathered to pick herbs, weed the garden, and sow seeds for new classes. Emily and Sophie played blindfold guide, creating warm memories for their small family. Not stopping at one Braille class, Emily and Ryan founded the Wellington Light Center, a charity funding eye surgeries for the less fortunate across the South Island. At their Alexandra opening ceremony, Emily stood on a large stage before hundreds, eyes bright. Light is more than sight, it's knowledge and love. Every home we visit is a spark of hope reignited. Ryan watched from the wings, heart swelling with pride, her passion and strength shining in her gaze. The road wasn't always smooth. Some complex cases required second surgeries. Days came when Emily returned to hospital. Ryan slept beside her bed, holding oxygen, eyes red with worry. Little Sophie, too young but perceptive, stayed with Grandma Susan, peeking through the glass. Lying on the hospital pillow, Ryan whispered, "I'm here for you. No matter how many times, you're never alone." Emily, exhausted but resolute, smiled, "With you by my side, I fear nothing." Their love was tested again, and again it held strong. 5 years on, they had restored sight to over 1,000 people, opened hundreds of Braille classes, and funded countless surgeries. They were not just a couple but symbols of sacrifice and hope for their community. Every Christmas, they hosted the Winter Star event, handing out sunglasses, warm hats, and meals to homeless visually impaired people in Auckland and Christchurch. Carols played from portable speakers, lanterns twinkled in their eyes. On the 10th anniversary of their registration, Emily stood on the villa's balcony, recalling her journey from temporary bride to life partner. She took Ryan's hand and whispered, "Thank you for giving me sight, hope, and a family." Ryan smiled, squeezing her hand. "And thank you for teaching me forgiveness, love, and how to carry hope." Afternoon sunlight bathed the garden in gold. Sophie toddled over, offering her mother a white rose, her toddler eyes wide with love. 3 generations stood together, Arthur and Margaret embracing grandchildren, Richard and Susan leaning on each other, and at the center, the Wellington Brown family, proof that duty can spark duty can lead to love's miracles, for those who dare to open their hearts and walk together.